Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Crashed Insanity. So the OnePlus 5 just got launched. It became a reality and this is what the phone looks like. We'll be getting into the design elements, the specifications, the camera, gaming performance and everything in just a minute. However, I would like to talk to you about the device itself. The device does not look as good as the other competitors like the LG G6 or the Samsung Galaxy S8, and there is a very specific reason for that. In that interview, OnePlus has accepted that they did not have enough money, they did not have the technology to actually make the device look much better, and they wanted to do that. However, they still have made a great phone. Now, the other companies have access to a lot of hardware and a lot of technology that they use to build their phones. OnePlus is a small company and it did not have that much money to do so, but the benefit of buying a OnePlus is that it listens to its customers and brings out advancements and updates according to what the customers want. So they're constantly listening to what you as a consumer want, and the updates are made in such a way so that it benefits the consumer. So that's a great thing about OnePlus. Now let's get into the review right away. So let's start off by looking at the design first. So the design, as a lot of people must have noticed, looks pretty much very similar to the iPhone 7 Plus. However, that's not really the case. The phone is actually just 7.9 mm thing, and it gives a very good grip in your hand. Although it's a very thin phone, the grip of the phone and feel of the phone is pretty nice and feels much different from the iPhone, and that is because of the horizon line that the OnePlus was talking about. The phone looks very similar just because of the camera setup on the top of the phone. Other than that, it's a very different feeling phone, although a lot of people had complained that it looks very similar, and it is only because of the camera. If you look at the overall design, the front of the phone has a 5.5-inch AMOLED display which gives great quality, and it is a great looking phone. A lot of people had complaints that the OnePlus did not move to a 4K screen, but to those people, actually you don't really need a 4K screen, and the screen on the OnePlus 5 looks brilliant and the color reproduction on the screen is amazing. When we look at the phone on the front has a 16 megapixel shooter on the top, and I have put in a tempered glass, so that's why you're able to see the other sensors. However, without the tempered glass, it's really difficult to notice the sensors at all because they have been very well hidden inside the top bezel. On the bottom, you get two capacitive touch buttons and a fingerprint reader. I really prefer the capacitive buttons over on-screen buttons, but you can actually, from the settings, change that and use on-screen buttons if you prefer so. Another thing that I really like is the fingerprint sensor in front of the device. Now, quite a lot of times I have been using the LG G6 till now, and I was using it as my daily driver, but I'm gonna swap it out with the OnePlus 5 because of the specifications. And on that phone I noticed that it would be a trouble reaching the back and exactly pressing the power button or the fingerprint sensor, and it took a little bit of muscle memory to do that. However, what I really like about the OnePlus 5 is the retention of the fingerprint sensor in the front, and you can pretty much, even if your phone is lying on the table, you can tap your finger and the phone unlocks instantly. Other than the slight resemblance to the iPhone 7 Plus, the OnePlus 5 is a great device. On one side of the phone, you get the power button. On the other side, there is a volume rocker and a notification slider. The top of the device houses no physical buttons, and the bottom has a speaker grill, a USB Type-C charging port, and thankfully, they managed to retain the 3.5 mm headphone jack. When we look at the specifications of the device is powered by a Snapdragon 835 processor, has Adreno 540 for graphics, has a storage option of 64 GB and 128 GB, and the RAM is either 6 GB or 8 GB depending on the model that you pick up. The model that I have is the Midnight Black version, which has 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage. The phone has Bluetooth 5.0, which is great for saving your battery, and it also comes with a 3300 mAh battery, which lasts you an entire day very easily, and till date I have had no such problem of recharging the phone multiple times in a day. The amazing hardware gives it a very snappy performance, and you can actually have multiple applications open in the background and you will not have any problem with the phone lagging or slowing down or having any problem whatsoever. The front camera is a 16 megapixel shooter and puts out great quality pictures, and the back camera is a 16 megapixel camera as well as a 20 megapixel camera. The primary shooter is a 16 megapixel shooter with an aperture of f1.7, which is great for low light photography. The other camera is a 20 megapixel telephoto lens, which also gives out great quality photos, and since it is a telephoto lens, it gives up to 2 times lossless zoom. And let me quickly show you the camera application as well. Now, the camera application is very much inspired by the iPhone camera. So you have the button to change from the 1x to 2x. You can just click a button and go into the telephoto lens. Plus you can swipe on the screen to switch to video mode as well as the portrait mode. I've also put some sample images of the portrait mode, which blurs the images in the background really well. Now this portrait mode right now is not perfect. However, even with the iPhone, it took quite a lot of software updates to correct that, and it will be corrected on the OnePlus 5 as well, and you'll be able to click great pictures using the portrait mode as well. On your screen, you'll be able to see some samples of the photographs clicked with both the 16 megapixel shooter and the 20 megapixel shooter as well as the front facing camera. Now all these 3 cameras give out great quality images, and the color reproduction and sharpness of the images are brilliant. Even when you zoom in, you get all details very well captured in the images captured by all 3 cameras. Now here are some samples of photos as well as videos captured on the OnePlus 5, and you'll be able to notice the amazing quality as well as the sharpness of the images. I've also tried to capture some low light images, and in all these images you can see how great the camera performs. Yes, the camera will not perform really well if you try to use the lossless zoom. Is the video sample recorded at 1080p from the OnePlus 5. The audio that you're listening to is from the mobile, and as you can notice, there's a lot of background sound, and we will see if the background sound is there on the video as well. Let's try a little bit of walking just to see how the image stabilization is. And currently 4K image stabilization is not really available, but will be included in a future update. Overall, the video quality is pretty nice, and this is what I expected from the flagship killer. And let's switch to the selfie camera, but before we do that, I would like to show you that you can switch the cameras and go into the 2x lossless zoom mode, and everything is pretty decent in the zoom mode as well, and you get crisp, clear images on both cameras. And let's switch to the selfie camera and see how that performs. Sample video from the OnePlus 5 selfie camera. The front facing camera is again a 16 megapixel camera, and again the audio is being recorded from the OnePlus 5 only. The images are pretty crisp, and I'm pretty satisfied with the overall image quality of the back cameras as well as the front camera. Now let's look at some other things on the phone. Gaming on this device is not a problem at all. Everything moves much fluidly as expected from a Snapdragon 835 and an Adreno 540. I also noticed that the phone does not get heated up at all as compared to the LG G6. I had a little bit of problems with the LG G6 in graphic intensive games and even with the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge. However, in this phone it handles the games really well, and the experience is completely amazing. You can continue to play games
without the problem of your device getting heated up. And as I mentioned before, the graphics are just brilliant on this device.
So overall impressions of the phone, I'm really impressed with the build quality of the OnePlus 5. It is a great phone and the hardware is just top notch. So you should just buy the phone for the hardware. You just have to get over the looks of the phone a little bit. In no way am I saying that this is a bad looking phone. I will be using this as my daily driver. It's a brilliant looking phone. However, it's not as good looking as the LG G6 or the Samsung Galaxy S8. I would have preferred it to have a bezel-less display. However, the phone still is a great looking phone and the hardware quality is just amazing at the price. So I bought this for about 38,000 rupees for the 8GB model and 128GB storage. So final impressions, if you guys are thinking of buying a new flagship, I would suggest going in for the OnePlus 5 purely based on the hardware specifications of the device. There are some minor glitches related to the software right now and the camera's portrait mode, but that will get corrected in future updates, so there is nothing to really worry about. So the OnePlus 5 gets a thumbs up from our side. If you're thinking of buying the OnePlus 5, buy it right now. And you should buy the 8GB version and the 128GB storage version, because OnePlus has tried to make this phone future proof so that you will not have to change your phone for the next 2 to 3 years at least, because they've given it 8GB of RAM, 128GB of storage and UFS 2.1 storage, which makes your phone amazingly fast. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, do give it a thumbs up, like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. And I upload videos on a weekly basis, so stay tuned for more insane videos.